Hi, it's Bill calling for Straight Circle Martial Arts, and this is why joint locking is taught wrong and how to stop it. Problem with martial arts or sports or anything isn't always you. Sometimes it's the limitation of the teacher you have. People learn certain things, take it to a certain level, and never get any better and don't understand that you can get better and then get frustrated when you try to get better. Traditionally, when joint locking is taught, you learn preset locks. I have one. I have two. I have three, right? And we all know these, I hope, at this point. And you're taught to have your hand in an exact way at a certain spot, and this is here. And those joint locks are great as long as you put them exactly where you want them, and they work perfect. Until you get in the real world where they're resisting or flailing or changing. What you have to learn to do is experiment. And look, I know this is coming. This isn't real, he's not, I know, it's a drill. It's not meant to be hardcore, tense with fighting. It's meant to teach you to transition from position to position. You eventually get to more tension and aggression as you get better with this, but you can't start that way. You can't learn joint locking by just someone flailing around. You have to understand how it works. What you should be doing all the time is experimenting. What I like to do is I like starting to go into a lock, but then I'll change, and then I'll change, and then I'll change. And if you notice, these are not traditional grips. What I'm doing is I'm trying to experiment with how the fingers move and how these move, how I can go to different positions with it, both hands in different angles to do these. You're going to find that the structure is the same with lock. Only works in so many directions. So the idea is right. You know, if I go into this, whether it's this or this or this, it doesn't matter as long as the structure is correct. But just knowing one way how to do it is not helpful. It's important that you be able to shift from position into position and go from hand to hand. So what I like to do is I'll start with one hand. And I'll go from one position into the next position, into the next position, and I'll see how many different things I can grab or what I can feel and how I can work with it a little bit, how I can go. And then I'll just transition to the elbow, and I'll come back to the hand. And I'll come back to this way, and then I'll get bored, and I'll go to the other hand, and I'll transition, I'll come again. And it's a flow. This has got to be natural to where you can feel you went from one to the next to the next. Now the question is when do I change grips? You change grips when you feel motion from your partner's body. So if I go like this and I change grips, I haven't effectively done anything because he hasn't moved. Watch his body. When you see that right there, when I see him move, I could finish through with that if I wanted to, but for the sake of the drill, I'm going to finish there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change. And I'm going to go to the next position, and I'm going to go to the next position, and I'm going to try and come to the next position. And when I see him physically alter, that's when I'm going to try and change to go to different positions. When you get better with this, what you do is he gives you a little tension. So as he gives tension, you want to see, okay, now I can't put that lock on. Maybe I have to create some pain first to put that lock on. Or maybe I have to off balance him to position him and then change it. So you get used to the idea of how do I actually make someone who's giving me a little tension. Now again, you can't start off with flailing tension because you don't learn anything. What you want to learn is he's tightened up. And I can't move him. So I need to move him and change him to move him. Get used to the idea of playing and going different positions. And as you move, don't think of a lock. Hit, make contact. Whatever you have is not what you have. The minute you make contact with it, you want to try and play with it, see what you have. Don't go, okay, I'm going to go into Nikio. It doesn't work that way. I'm not going to go to Kotegaeshi. I'm just getting a hold of him. And then where I have it, I just experiment with what I have. The next version is when I grab him and he starts trying to slowly, just because again it's a drill, he starts to escape. So he starts to move his hands, like he's trying to give me crap. So I have to play with it and see how he can escape. So as I do this, look, he's going to go into an escape, which is what I'm trying to teach him to do. So the minute I feel him go into this escape, I should feel, how do I get into something else? So I put it on, he starts to escape again. And now I'm going to follow it, and I'm going to go with it. He's going to try and escape again, and I'm going to play with this and see how I can get a hold of this. And eventually it gets more violent and physical and stronger, and people get more into it, but you got to be careful, because the more you start flailing around with these really small little quick joint locks, people get hurt fast. I popped someone's thumb out once. It wasn't pretty. You got to be real careful with these when you're doing them. Start very slow, but it's a progression. You should start from just free flow work of nice work and just changing and moving all the time, to eventually them giving you a little tension, and then eventually they start escaping, and then down the road you work the things like they grab you, and now you want to start experimenting with these, right? How do I get into different things and play from that position? Or he grabs me somewhere else, and we're all the time working, right? And we play and see, right? How do I get into these things, play around? I guess what I'm trying to say more than anything is we learn these statically. He grabs here, I do this, we do this, and this is how this works. But it's not like that. You get into a real situation, people are punching, pushing, grabbing, and you don't get the luxury of actually deciding what you want to do. A lot of times what happens is something's on you and you just see it and you got to deal with what you have at the moment. Practice free flow without thought. The more you think about this, the worse it's going to be. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel immensely.